Of course, as you know, high school is a very dangerous time for someone's Islam. Also college as well, you can address that as well. There's MSAs, there's different organizations for Muslims, but it still seems like it's overwhelming sometimes for the Muslim to keep his Islam because he's not surrounded by majority of Muslims. He's surrounded by, or she's surrounded by, a majority of non-Muslims. So how do we deal with that? How do we stay strong in the midst of all these non-Muslims and people that are influencing us in that way? In college as well, people are inviting you to all these parties and indulging in these things. So how do we stay strong in that environment?
Barakallahu fikum. The question says, to summarize the question, because alhamdulillah, the disciples and disciplettes, the listeners and the viewers, they oftentimes complain about the questions. Can you please repeat the question? Right? So we say, the question says, what is your advice? What could you tell us? What could you share with us? What would be your suggestion with regards to Muslim youth, Muslim teenagers, Muslim adolescents, Muslims, male and female, teenage men and women, with regards to the times of high school and of college, being surrounded by non-Muslims, being surrounded by Muslims who aren't practicing, wicked, ignorant, people of sin, people of innovation, Muslims that just aren't focused on what they're supposed to be focused on. What is your advice? What do you say about that? We say is that the answer to the question lies in the answer, or the answer to the question lies in the question itself. And that is if you're surrounded, if you're engulfed and enveloped by kuffar, or Muslims that aren't so strong, aren't so good Muslims in their deen, then bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, by Allah's permission, you can control your own destiny. You control your own destiny in this issue here. And that is to surround yourself around good, righteous, wholesome, productive people. Muslim and non-Muslim. Muslim and non-Muslim. Just be patient now. Don't jump on me too quick. Surrounding yourself, first and foremost, by righteous Muslims. And what we mean by a righteous Muslim, they don't have to be perfect Muslims. They don't have to be quote-unquote saints, as people make fun of people today. They don't have to be people that are angels. But Muslims that are trying to be righteous. They're trying to do what they're supposed to do. They're trying to fulfill their responsibilities. They make 5 salah in a day. They don't drink. They don't smoke. And if they do drink, if they do smoke, they feel bad. They hide it. They run. They're afraid. They're ashamed. And they're actually putting up a fight with their inner demons and desires. Now people will walk around showing tattoos. I was weak. I got a tattoo. I was stupid. I was drunk. I was high. But I'm not going to show you my tattoo. I'm not going to let you know I have a tattoo. Someone that's trying and striving to be righteous. Striving and trying to be what? Righteous. So that's the first step. And righteousness is nothing more than the Muslim being a warrior, being a mujahid. You have to be a warrior. You have to fight your nafs, fight shaitan, fight outer influence, and fight peer pressure. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not an angel, but I'm a fighter. I'm striving to do the right thing. So that's the first step, is you have to surround yourself around Muslims that are fighters. Whether they are perfect fighters or beat up fighters, but as long as these Muslims have this fighting spirit, and that is not to give in to your desires and not to give in to the media and to peer pressure. It's time to make the salah. I don't care what you think or what you feel. I don't care if I'm going to lose out on this and I'm going to miss this. It's time to pray. I'm going to cover my hair. I'm going to wear hijab. No matter how much they make fun of people who wear hijab. Because my deen is more important. And their mockery, their pressure, I'm going to fight it. And when I fight it, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, that in itself is righteousness. So you must be around righteous Muslims. And as it says in the famous Arab proverb, as-sahibu sahib. As-sahibu sahib. They say as-sahib sahib. They say a friend is a puller. Your friend is a tugger. Your friend is someone who pulls you and yanks at you. Another version of this proverb says, At-tab'u sarraq. At-tab'u sarraq. It says character is a thief. Character, it doesn't rub off. It doesn't influence. It says it's a sarraq. It steals. In other words, who you hang around, who you influence, who influences you, is going to be an act of thievery. You have good character today. You like to pray today. You like to do that which is good today. But you continue to hang around this wicked person, this ignorant person, this person who's not trying to strive and fight and do the right thing. Their bad habits are going to steal you. And their character is going to steal your character. Everybody clear on this? So the character is pivotal. Number 2. With regards to righteous Muslims, even in college and high school, if you had a classmate, because we know Muslims don't have non-Muslim friends. Your awliya, your loved ones, your protectors, your friends are supposed to be those who pray, those who make ruku', those who bow down like you bow down, as the Quran clearly and explicitly explains to us. However, in school, in college, you had a classmate, an associate, a colleague, a comrade, a friend, quote unquote. Make sure that they are non-Muslims who are about something in life, something positive. I came to college to get good grades. I came to college because my parents come from a third world country. My father worked at a fruit stand. My mother worked at a hotel cleaning people's beds, scrubbing toilets for years for me to get a good, thorough education. So am I a good son, a good daughter to go to college, to smoke weed, to drink beer, to sleep with girls, to get tattoos, to ride around and listen to music and be a party animal? And my parents came from a third world country and they struggled and they sacrificed so I could have a better life. Indeed, that's not a good person who behaves like that. Forget yourself. I don't want to study. I don't want to be a doctor or a nurse or a lawyer. But what about my poor mother who came from Korea? What about my poor mother who came from South Africa? What about my poor mother who came from Somalia? What about my father who had to go through so much for me to have a better and higher quality life? So these are the people that you need around you. People that like to get good grades. People, when they play sports, when they play basketball, that actually want to play basketball. That actually, I want to go to the NBA. I want to go to this college. I want to get looked at by these scouts. I have a dream. I have an ambition. I have an aspiration. Now people just want to smoke, drink, play around. People just want to waste time on Facebook, on Instagram. People just want to chase girls. You don't want to be around sisters who look in the mirror all day long and they're putting on their lipstick and their henna and they're looking in the mirror taking selfies. That's not the people that you want to be around in college. You want to be around people that are what? The henna. You want to be around people that are serious in life. Why is my mother paying all this money for school? Why am I going into debt? Student loans, riba loans. Abu Saeed, for me to just be a failure? So these are the people, we're not talking about Muslims anymore. Non-Muslims that you need to what? Be around. Be around serious people in college. And if you're around serious people, Muslims first and foremost, the first level of seriousness is the seriousness of the deen. After that comes the seriousness of the what? Of the dunya. And there are kuffar that are serious about the what? The dunya. And there are kuffar that like to play around with the what? With the dunya. The person who made this phone, the person who made all of these different technological towers, quote unquote, all of this major pieces of technology. Do you think there were people that were losers? You think they were jerks? You think they were dropouts? No. Those people, they stood up for countless nights. They studied, they read until their eyes bled, until their hands shook and trembled, until he perfected the iPhone. And you can benefit from it. And we're not talking about religion anymore. We're talking about what? Dunya. So you have to be around people that are serious. The moment you hang around somebody that likes to smoke weed, know for sure you're going to eventually smoke weed. It stinks at first. It smells at first. Why your lips always look like that? Why your fingertips? Eventually, you're going to be stressed out. You're going to be tired. You're going to be sad. You're going to be depressed. Hey, let me pass that. And you're going to take a puff or 2 or 3 or 4. And next thing you know, you're going to smoke weed. If you hang around people who make the salah, yo, put down the basketball. It's time to pray. Put down the video game. It's time to pray. Leave this person alone. We're going to the masjid. It's impossible for you to continue to be with them and they're going to the masjid and you're sitting by yourself. That's not going to happen. You're shooting a basketball and they go pray because you want to be cool too. And the only reason why you're being influenced is because you're mentally weak, feeble-minded, simple-minded. So the simple-minded person, the cure of not being simple-minded is hanging around people that are mentally what? Stronger. So if they are religious, then they're going to influence you. And that's why they say in another famous Arab proverb, "Man sahaba al-musallina salla, wa man sahaba al-mughannina ghanna." They say those who accompany the people who pray will pray, and those who accompany the people who sing will sing. So it's just that simple. إِنَّ الطُّيُورَ عَلَى أَشْكَالِهَا تَقَعْ. They say birds of a feather do what? They flock together. Pigeons around with what? Falcons, hawks, owls, vultures. Will you ever see a pigeon with a bird of prey, a predator, with vicious talons and a sharp, razor-sharp beak? They don't get along. Falcons are with what? Other falcons. Pigeons are with what? Other pigeons. So that's my advice. You gotta keep, you gotta look for good company. Good Islamic company and good what? Worldly company. Pay close attention, because people that get caught up, they're stuck on the deen. It's deeper than that as well. You want to be an engineer, you want to be a chemist, a biophysicist, then you need to hang around what? People that have high aspirations what? As well. And the same applies to seeking knowledge in Medina. And only Allah knows how many brothers we've seen come from America, from Canada, from the UK. How many brothers came from Birmingham, from London? How many brothers came from Luton? How many brothers came from Manchester? All over the UK. They want to study, they want to learn, but they have poor aspirations. You can't succeed like that. You have to want something in life. And being the night, you have to hang around the people who want something in life. That's my advice. Wallahu alam.
A couple of questions from the sisters. The sister asks, is it possible for a Muslim to be a stranger amongst other Muslims? We talked about practicing Muslim and non-practicing Muslim. Going off what you were saying.
Question says, is it possible for a Muslim to be stranger among other Muslims? Without a doubt. There's no difference of opinion about that. And that is something that we wanted to mention and read to you. However, because of time, some of the younger people, unfortunately, were talking. It's very difficult to talk over people playing and talking. So we didn't get a chance to read that. But there's no doubt that a Muslim can be a stranger among other Muslims. That's number one. Number two, there is no doubt a religious, pious, righteous, quote-unquote, practicing Muslim. I don't know what that is. What is a practicing Muslim? And this is a sad terminology that is used by everybody today. Muslim and non-Muslim. Practicing, not practicing. How can you be a Muslim that you don't practice? Perfect? No one claims perfection. Well, a Muslim that doesn't practice, that means you don't pray, basically. If you're not practicing, you're not praying. Is that even possible? But for argument's sake, yes. Practicing Muslims can be strangers among other practicing Muslims. Knowledgeable Muslims can be strangers among other knowledgeable Muslims. There are what? There are levels. Allah tells us in the Quran, وَلِكُلٍّ darajat. There are darajats for each and every slave. So among the Muslims, there are strangers. Who are the strangers among the Muslims? Those who quote unquote practice. Those who are upon the sunnah. Those who have ilm. Those among the Muslims who have ilm, those who have ilm of hadith. Those who are practicing and propagating and spreading the hadith of the Prophet, they're what? Strangers. Aqallul qaleel. Everybody understand this? So what? Aqallul qaleel. They're extremely endangered species. You ever look at or you go to the zoo and you see on the key to the zoo, the map, they have the different types of animals. You have the primates, you have the giraffes, you have the lions, you have this lizard, you have this bug, this insect, this snake. And they have the color codes of the levels of endangered species. There's some that are yellow, some that are a bit green, there are some that are red, some that are orange. In other words, just a what? A few of these animals that remain in their natural habitat. A few of them in the what? National parks. So there's no doubt that a Muslim can be a stranger among what? Other Muslims. Based off of the level of knowledge, level of sunnah, level of piety, and the level of dhikr that you have, and the level of ilm that you have. There's levels, there's no doubt about that. Wallahu alam.
This brother has a question.
Wa alaikum salam.
Ask a question to the brothers and sisters that are here. Show of hands, how many of you were born Muslim? How many of you were born in this country? one place at such a young age. You guys are 16, 17, 18, and I'm old enough to be probably everyone's father. Even
Including me.
probably old enough to be his father. So there's a narration that came to mind, and I want to know who can answer this, except for the four brothers that was on the panel. This is for the sisters as well. You brothers have a golden opportunity in your youth. There's a narration that comes to us. It's narrated by Abu Hurairah. It's collected in Sahih. There's going to be a day when there's no shade, except the shade of Allah. It's going to be given to 7 people. Who can tell me what's one of those 7 people? That's not from the panel. Who is that? That's one of them. That's not the one. Who's the sister had a hand raised? 7 is going to be the shade of Allah. It's one in general that I'm looking for.
Can I answer the question? I wasn't on the panel.
Who is it? A young person who that what? That practices? A young person who spends his youth in remembrance of Allah. That is a great blessing for you brothers and sisters that are so young. I accept Islam 13 years ago. My youth is gone. You brothers and sisters have an excellent opportunity right now to worship Allah. I came from the streets. I see a lot of the brothers. I look at how they dress. They're chasing fashion. And trust me when I tell you, you brothers are not missing it. Do not let your youth escape you. And you become, you see the symbol that I have in my beard, sideburns. I remember so long ago, I was 17, 18, I wasn't Muslim, and I was understanding a lot of you guys are going. Do not let your youth pass you by, because it goes very, very fast. Remember that's narration. 7 is going to have shade, and on a day there's no shade. 1 is the youth who spent his time in the remembrance and the worship of Allah. That's just a benefit for myself. First and foremost, I have my sons with me, and for you brothers here, may Allah bless you all.
Jazakallah khairan, I'm saying. Very excellent faida. Barakallahu fikum. Please take heed to those words, huh? Golden words. MashaAllah.
Jazakallah khair. Going off with that question, with that reminder, this brother asks, should we get married first or study?
So, question says, start cracking up. Should we get married first or study? So, I would tell you, my advice is the advice of the Prophet ﷺ initially. And that advice was, those who can get married should get married. Because marriage, I'm going to reword the hadith in English for you, okay? I'm going to reword the hadith in English for you. It says those who want to get, or those who can get married should get married. I'm going to reword the interpretation of the hadith in English now. Because marriage is pure for your mind and safer for your physical body. Pure for your mind and safer for your physical body. Everybody understand this? The hadith says, فَإِنَّهُ أَغَضُّ لِلْبَصَرِ وَأَحْسَنُ لِلْفَرْجِ. Hadith says, literal word for word translation, أَغَضُّ لِلْبَصَرِ. Hadith says that getting married, he's talking to the youth, not the old, the youth. The old timers or the old heads with the gray in their beards and the gray shaved off of their heads. Says what? Get married if you can. Why? فَإِنُّ أَغَضُّ لِلْبَصَرِ. Because marriage allows your eyes to be lower. That's the literal translation. وَأَحْسَنُ لِلْفَرْجِ. And it is more protective for your private part. That's the literal word for word meaning. I chose to word the hadith in a different way. Listen carefully. Get married first. Because getting married is safer for a sound, healthy mind and a sound, healthy physical body. In other words, you are young, strong, energetic. You have desires. You have lusts. You have wants. You have needs. If you do not fulfill them in the proper, permissible manner, then it's going to lead to the lack of health in one of those two arenas. Your mind is going to become unhealthy. It's going to become unclean. Your mind, mentally. You're going to become mentally unclean. Everybody focus in. This is very important. Number two, your physical body is going to be put at risk. It's going to be put at what? At risk. Everybody understand this? In other words, a person wants to have sexual intercourse. It's natural. 16, 15, 17, 18 is natural. There's nothing bad about it. It's nothing, this is the natural way of life. Everybody clear on this? And if it wasn't for sex, none of us would be sitting here in this room tonight. This is the reality of it, okay? With no sugar. If it wasn't for a sexual desire, I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you. And our parents wouldn't be here, but everybody clear on this? This is the reality of what? Of life. Everybody clear on this? This is life. Okay, those who are younger, alhamdulillah, I see many older brothers or sisters smirking and laughing more than the younger brothers. This is the reality of life now. So you want to have sex. You like girls, you like boys. That's natural. So what are you going to do? The first way, or the only way here now in America, is for you to have a wife or a husband. So you refuse to get married. You don't get married. Then there's one or two things that's going to take place now. The first is you're going to fulfill your sexual desires in the haram way. And secondly, you're going to prevent yourself from the natural course of fulfilling your sexual desires. And that's going to lead to one of two, if not two of these major problems. Mental illness and physical harm. Your mind will become sick and perverted and twisted because the society in which you live in is not a pure, clean society. Modesty, shyness, bashfulness, chastity. These virtues, not only are they not promoted in the modern Western society, they are demoted. They are not promoted at all. Rather, the opposite. The opposite. Don't wear loose clothes, wear tight clothes. Wear perfume outside, wear makeup, show your muscles, wear short shorts. A ladies' man, you're the man, you're the Mac. Don't be shy and scared in front of girls. No, it's praiseworthy to be what? I was saying? Talk to girls. You're 15, your girlfriend is 18. It's praiseworthy in the culture today. And this is a reality. This is a reality. This is a reality. Everybody understand this? So therefore, your mind is going to become sick and twisted. What you think about, what you're listening to, what you look at, how you feel, it's going to become what? It's going to become messed up. And that's going to have a profound effect on your life as a whole. In Islam and outside of Islam. And if that doesn't happen, then your physical body is not going to be safe. You're going to have a girlfriend. You're going to have a boyfriend. You're going to have an illegitimate child. You're going to get an STI, a STD. You're going to become a desire of your sexual pleasures. And whenever you see someone or something that you like, you're going to follow after it. And that's going to lead to physical destruction. Your body is not going to be sound. It's not going to be right. It's not going to be healthy in 2017 when you follow your lust and there's no control. So therefore, the Prophet ﷺ, he told us get married because getting married has a sound mind and a safe body. Allah says, "Inna Allah khabirun bima yasnaun." Allah is all aware of that which they do. What did Allah say before that? That's the threat. Lower the gaze, and if you don't lower the gaze, Allah sees what you do. That's the threat. But before that, Allah gave encouragement. He says, ذَلِكَ أَزْكَى لَهُمْ. Allah says, getting or lowering the gaze is azka. He says it's pure for them. Why did Allah say this? He didn't say it's pure for their eyes. He didn't say it's pure for their minds. He didn't say it's pure for their bodies. He says, ذَلِكَ أَزْكَى لَهُمْ. That's pure for them in every aspect of life. And when you do not lower your gaze, if you don't have purity, then you have what? Impurity. And another simple way of saying impurity is what? Dirt. Filth. Everybody understand this? Can we all agree on this? So Allah tells us, when you look at everything, the Prophet tells us getting married helps you not look at everything. When you look at everything, your natural ways, it's going to lead to what? Impurity. And that impurity is going to be spiritual, it's going to be religious, and it's also going to be what? Physical. It's going to be what? Physical. So get married if you have the ability to get married. It's just that simple. Marriage with the proper upbringing, with the proper responsibility, will not and does not prevent you from studying. It will not and it does not prevent you from being successful in the sports that you play. Rather, it's going to help you focus. It's going to help you study. It's going to give you a greater purpose in life. I have to get better grades. I have to have a good job because I have a spouse. Everybody clear on this? I have to excel because I have a husband, I have a wife, so on and so forth. I'm stressed, I'm tired. It was a long, rough day. I go home, I see my wife, I see my husband. The stress, the worries, where do they go? They're gone. They're what? Everybody understand this? So just look at all of these different wisdoms that come from when you get married. And obviously you're going to say, well, Akhi, everybody can't get married. Everybody doesn't have the ability to get married. Everybody doesn't have money. Everybody doesn't have a job. I don't have a car. I don't have my own apartment. I live with my parents. My mother says I have to get this big, fat, gigantic degree before I can even think about getting married. And then when it's time to get married, I have to marry somebody that my parents picked for me. So on and so on and so on and so forth. The Prophet ﷺ, Allah Azza wa Jalla, He inspired him to tell us the solution for those who can't get married. And I'm going to once again reinterpret the hadith. The Prophet says those who cannot get married should be utterly religious. They should be religious. They should be pious. He says let them do what? Fast, which is a major manifestation of religious piety. In other words, fasting is temporary. Control yourself. Hold back your desires. But it's only but so long that you're going to be able to have this arm wrestling match with your desires. It's only but so long until the other arm slams your arm down, because that's the natural way of life. Now you can be smart, you can be real, you can accept it. Or us as parents, Abu Sa'id tell them, we can be fake. My son doesn't like girls. My daughter doesn't have a boyfriend. No way. Why do you think your daughter has a passcode on her phone? This is a reality for parents, and many parents are in what? Utter denial. If you deny the fact of the influence of 2017 on your child, sit at the dinner table and ask your young 17-year-old daughter, Fatima, give me your phone, please. Take off the passcode. Let me look through your phone. Is the daughter going to let him do that? Point proven or not. This is a reality. So that's my advice, is to get married. Now we know everybody's not going to get married. Everybody's not going to take this advice. Some people are going to say the exact opposite. Study, 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 study. 25, 30, get your degree, get a big house, get a car, do this, be responsible, which is partially true. But we have to give advice to hit the bullseye, because there's so many people that are saying, shoot for a 6, shoot for a 7. So it's my job to tell you to shoot for a 10. And if you can't hit a 10, at least you can get an 8. At least you can get a 9. At least you can get a 7, a 6 at best. But if I tell you to shoot for a 6 and you miss, you're going to get a what? A 4. Everybody clear on this? Shoot for a gold medal. Everybody's not going to be a gold medalist. If you work, if you train, if you have the ambition to get a gold medal, then at worst, you're going to be a bronze medalist, at worst. But if I say, if you get a silver, it's okay. If you get a bronze medal, it's all right. Your aspirations are going to be what? Already compromised. So that's my nasiha, is those who can get married to get married. And at the age of 15, 14, 16, your son, your daughter should be put into the mindset of Islam as a complete way of life. You're young now, son. Tomorrow you're not going to be that young. You're a young girl now, laughing and joking and giggling. That's okay. That's fine. Don't rush to get older. But you eventually will have to raise a family. You eventually will have to get married. And you're going to run a household. You're going to be in charge. And I'm not going to be here to bail you out of trouble. I'm not going to be here to buy your things. You're going to be looked up to one day. These things have to be instilled in a teenager from a what? A young age. So when they reach 20, 19, 21, it's what? Automatic. And that's why the Prophet told us to tell our children to make salah at the age of 7. They are not pubescent. They do not have to pray at 7. They do not have to pray at 10. But the parents must tell them to. So when it's time, when they are in puberty, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, making salah is what? Instinctive, not natural. No. It's what? Instinctive. It's automatic. Your young daughter, 6 years old, 8 years old, she wears the khimar. She doesn't have to cover herself yet. So when she's in puberty and she thinks that she's pretty and cute, and the boy in the Islamic school likes her, not the public school, in the Islamic school, it's a reality. He gives her a Valentine's Day card. In the Islamic school, she knows you can't see my hair. Because I used to wear a khimar when I was 6. Now I'm 16. I feel naked without my khimar. It doesn't feel right for me to show you my hair until it becomes what? Instinctive. Wallahu alam.
Jazakallah khair.
Follow.
We'll do one last question, and this is from the sisters. The sister asks, you discussed how a stranger can be someone who leaves a place for the sake of Allah. How can women best consolidate this if they don't have a mahram? What advice do you give to the sister?
Question says, a stranger who leaves a place for the sake of Allah, how can a woman do this, consolidate this without a mahram? We say, once again, and going back to the original topic, we did not have enough time to discuss this important topic, كما ينبغي, like we should. There's not enough time, let alone the fact that the crowd is extremely mixed. It's extremely mixed. We have old, we have young, people who know Arabic, people who don't. It's extremely mixed. So we can't give you a full course, gourmet meal. Some people we have to give small cheeseburgers to. Some people want fast food. There's not enough time. It's too much of a mixture. However, the concept of stranger and strangeness is relative. It's relative. And many people, if not most people today, Muslim and non-Muslim alike, they misunderstand the whole entire concept. Being a stranger does not mean that you don't do anything that's normal. It doesn't mean that you can't enjoy things that other people enjoy. It does not mean that. It doesn't mean that you have to be a total minority. Rather, it's relative. Let's make an example of this. Right here in this classroom, raise your hands if you're a Muslim. Raise your hands if you're a Muslim. Everybody raise your hands if you're Muslim. Raise your hands if you're non-Muslim in this room. Okay, so therefore, in this room right now, Abu Sa'id, are the Muslims strangers, minority, or majority? Without a doubt, there's no strangers in this room. Sahih? We walk outside of this room, then it becomes a what? Different story. Everybody clear on this? If I say raise your hand if you memorize Juz Amma, many, if not most of you raise your hands. Raise your hands if you memorize raise your hands if you memorize half the Quran, the entire Quran. Then we will find some what? Strangers. Raise your hands if you memorize 40 Hadith Nawawi. Raise your hands if you memorize half Sahih Bukhari. Then there will be a what? Strangers. So strangeness and stranger is a what? Relative term. In the Middle East, and Sudan, and Pakistan, and Saudi Arabia, Muslims are not strangers. They aren't strangers. Now you go to Rome, you go to Ireland, you go to Bolivia, and the Muslims are definitely going to be what? Strangers. Everybody clear on this? Everybody understand this or not? You go to the patch of Muslims, those who are studious, those who are pious, those who learn the Sunnah, and there's going to be more what? Strangers. So there's relative, it's subjective from time and to place. Just because you live in America, it does not mean that you're not a stranger. Just because you live among a Muslim country doesn't mean that you're not a what? A stranger. And if it doesn't mean that, then it does not necessarily necessitate for you to always physically leave a place. It does not necessarily mean or necessitate that you have to do what? Physically leave a place just to be a stranger, because you're already strange enough. You're already going to be strange by default. Religion in the 21st century and the practice of religion, practical religion, is considered to be something that's what? Strange among Christians. Christians that aren't secular and nominal, that actually try to stick to the pure teachings of Christianity, of the Bible, of the gospel, of the church. They're considered what? They know not about that. They're strange. How many people drink, eat, do what they want, dress how they want, do whatever they want to do, go to church on Sunday, if that, and they say, I believe in Jesus Christ. So practicing Christians are strangers, religion in general. And people make fun of people that are religious in general, in the 21st century. In general, whatever religion. Jew, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, they make fun of them. We're talking about the cartoons in the car, right? Mocking people of all religions. So you're automatically by default a what? Stranger. You wear hijab? Stranger. You study? Stranger. You don't want to wear high heel shoes outside? You don't want to wear makeup outside? You want to marry a religious brother, not somebody that has money or family status? You're automatically a what? A stranger. So the point I think is extremely clear, and that is there may be a time in which you have to physically leave a place, no doubt, in which you cannot properly practice your religion. And there may be a time in which you do not have to physically leave a place to be a stranger. That's a misunderstanding about ghurba and ghurba. And another misunderstanding that people have is to make more strangeness and more strangers. Don't rush to minimize the people because we're already by default what? The minority. Everybody clear on this? So if there's a place in which you must leave and you don't have a mahram and it's a fitna upon you and your deen, then leave that place even without a mahram. Get on an airplane, get on a train, get on a bus, leave, even if you do not have a mahram. As far as if it's a place in which you don't have to physically leave, whether you have a mahram or not, then you shouldn't do what? Don't leave, because you're already a stranger. And you remaining in that place as a stranger may be more beneficial for the people. Everybody understand this? So this is one of the biggest misunderstandings that people have about ghurba. It's to make more ghurba. And it's to go out of your way to be gharib. That's wrong. That's an error. You're automatically strange by being Muslim, by wearing khimar, by wearing hijab, by studying. So don't make it even more what? Strange. Everybody clear on this? And Allah Azza wa Jalla surely knows best.
Jazakallahu khairan for answering those questions and for this beautiful lecture. And now we're going to transition to food and snacks, which is